talk about structure, we usually talk about the IMRAD structure, meaning introduction, methods, results, and discussion, right? And these are, of course, very important components of your manuscript. But we tend to miss out some, critical elements like your abstract, your title, your keywords. And these are actually the first thing a reader will go through and decide whether they want to go through the rest of your manuscript or not. Same thing even for a journal editor. Like they'll go through your title, abstract, and keywords first and then decide if they want to proceed to peer review or not. So coming to these main aspects, when you're drafting a title for your study, the goal is basically to convey the core aspects of your research while maintaining readability and brevity. So I have an exercise over here where we can ask ourselves four key questions. Number one, as said on the slide, what is the main topic of my study? What methods were used? Who or what was studied? And what were the key findings? Don't worry, we're going to have a look at an example in a bit. But basically, identifying or answering these questions will help us figure what the essential components should be of the title. So let's take a case study. All right, let's say my study is about intervention X or some intervention, some therapy for patients with dementia in terms of their cognitive function improvement. And I have studied this using a randomized control trial design. So if I answer these questions, what is the main topic? Intervention X as a therapy. Methods used? Randomized control trial. Who or what was studied? Patients with dementia. And what was the key finding? Let's say I found that it actually improved cognitive function improvement. So I have the answers to these questions written down. And now, if I just want to cull out some key concepts from the answers or keywords of sorts, the recurring keywords would be among those that I mentioned: X therapy, randomized trial, dementia, cognitive function improvement. This is something I've been saying again and again in my answers. So I just cull out those recurring keywords. That's all I do at this stage. The next step to draft my title would be to string these keywords together. And this is just to form a preliminary title. So yes, I know this over here, the example is lengthy and it does not look good as a title, but don't worry, this is not your final draft. I've just strung them together. So I can say something like a randomized trial of X therapy for cognitive function in dementia patients. Okay, I have everything together, but we don't have a concise title yet. Now, to just finalize things, all right, in the final version of our title, let's consider whether we want to retain or remove this randomized trial bit. Because if you see academic papers, some of them will mention the method, some of them will not mention the method in the title. So, what is ideal, right? Now, I would say it depends. So, for example, I would recommend retaining randomized trial if the methodology is critical for understanding the study's uniqueness. So, if other studies in the same field have also used a randomized trial, then the reader will assume that, oh, it's about dementia, it's about this intervention. They must have used a randomized trial, even if it is not mentioned in the title. So, I can exclude it. But if it's a novel contribution where others have used some other method, whereas you have tried to use a novel method to test things from a different perspective, then yes, you would want to sell that in your title, right? But okay, let's say even if we want to retain it, at the end of the day, randomized trial is just the method. It's about how the study was conducted. It's not the main focus of the study. So we have the good old colon in the title to depend on, and we can move this randomized trial to after the colon. So colons basically they are often used in a title to separate the general topic from a specific detail or provide additional context about the study. So over here I've just rearranged things. So instead of saying a randomized trial of so and so, I've just said X therapy for cognitive function in dementia. I've not even said cognitive function improvement because obviously I'll assume that the therapy is for improvement, and I need to try to reduce the word count as much as possible in titles, reduce article usage also. So I've removed the before X therapy, right? uh, so we basically reshuffled the long phrase that we had in the previous slide to create like a more concise and I would say reader friendly title. that emphasizes your core topic first, and then keeping the methodology as an FYI, additional information. So yeah, even though it may come across as a complicated process, it's just about extracting that key information from our answers to the questions on slide one. So once we have those answers, everything will flow, a lot more seamlessly. Another thing about the title is it's perfectly fine to draft a title after we've conducted the research. Or maybe, before you've conducted the research, you have one title in mind, and after you've conducted the research, you want to refine it further. Rest assured, it's a common practice. So there's nothing wrong about that if you want to revisit the title after you have written the research.